Kala, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Brakatahawa, Brakatahawashai, 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 the water, the Papa, called Kadash. I'd like to give the honor to the elders, apostles, great millstone that teaches truth, which we know is 100% truth, the true word of our Lord. Do a lesson. It's going to be Esau Edom. I was watching a brother out of GMS Dallas camp, brother Yashawamba, I think that's the name. Hopefully I didn't mess it up. And a brother from GMS Mississippi. I was watching a brother from GMS Mississippi video first, and then he was lambacking off of brother Yashawamba off video off of GMS Dallas, and was going in on Esau Edom. And through the spirit, I was looking in prior to that on Esau Edom. And I think it just kind of lines up perfectly for me to do this lesson because Esau Edom, he's always painted himself as being superior. They still continue to do that. They're superior to all the other nations. Esau Edom is really our brother. Goes back to Jacob and Esau. We are more close in relation to Esau Edom than we are those Hamites over there in Africa. Because, it goes back, we're our forefathers, Isaac, bore Jacob and Esau. And Esau is definitely described in there, it's being read all over, hairy. But that's really the hairy part, that's, really can't go too much in that because you have a lot of jakes that are sometimes hairy as well. But, being red, that's definitely a good description. And his nature is described in there, how he is, he's a carnal man. We know him as being very carnal. He wants his here and now. It's described about how, he gave up his birthright because he couldn't wait to eat, when he was out hunting. And that's how he was able to be supplanted out of his birthright through Jacob by giving up his birthright so he can get something to eat. And it tells you the food it wasn't even finished done, the porridge wasn't finished done, the meat that he had in there. And he took it anyhow. And these Edomites, they love their meat raw, man. They don't like their food cooked, their meat cooked all the way, especially their beef. And then, how he's a cunning hunter, Esau loves to hunt. He loves to be in the mountains. He loves to climb. He loves being in places that he don't belong, He loves taking over things. He rules by the sword, and that's his blessing that our forefather Isaac gave him. And, he's going to take over the fatness of the land. So everywhere you go where the beautiful landscape is, you're going to find this devil there, man. He's going to be there somehow. And what kind of got me on this earlier today, I was looking up Petra because I was watching this video. They're showing a lot of different landscape, beautiful places and stuff. And they were showing Petra. And what Petra is ancient rock carved into a southern Jordan. In the southern Jordan area, let me show you a picture of it. This is where we know it's Petra. This is where these Edomites pretty much came from. And then I put in, this is what I put in earlier, I put in, is Petra in Edom. So we're going to kind of go from here. Short answer, yes. Geographically, Petra is a region known as Edom, located. Petra is a modern-day Jordan, specifically in southern Jordan. The exact area matches the ancient land of Edom, territory of Esau descendants. Why Petra fits Edom? Edom is described in scriptures as dwelling in the clefts of the rock, living in high places. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 3. Obadiah goes all the way in on Esau Edom, man. That thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high. Description matches Petra exactly. Rock-cut city, hidden in mountains, elevated terrain. So it's telling you right there who he's talking about, who Obadiah is talking about, and these where those Edomites come from. Who built Petra? Kind of goes off a little bit there. So it says because it's an Edom land, so you know the Edomites. So I put in Job says they were driven from amongst men. Job chapter 30, verse 5 and 6. And let's go there real quick. Shalaki, bear with me for a second. Kind of going through the spirit on this one. Job chapter 30, verse 6. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. They dwell in the clefts of the rocks, in the valleys and the caves of the earth and in the rocks. Talking about Esau, Edom again. So they were so vile, man, that they had to send them from amongst them because they thieves. They're natural born thieves. They're natural liars. Anytime you hear them open up their mouth, it's always some type of lie. And verse 8 tells you who they are, man. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were vile than the earth. And let me plug this into ChatGPT, see what kicks back. ChatGPT be trying to hide them sometime, man, but you have to kind of keep plugging the right things, keep poking at them to get the truth to come out. Job chapter 30, verse 8, they were children of fools, they were base men. Okay, Job is speaking during the lowest point. He's describing the people who mocked him. They are the same ones in verse 5 and 7, driven out, living in caves and rocks. Fools in scripture who rejects wisdom and righteousness because they reject the word. They reject what the Lord, man, in any kind of way. They come from ungodly, undisciplined backgrounds. Children of base men, they have no morals, man. No morals at all. Low without honor, lacking integrity. And we can see that right now during the negotiation, what's going on in this so-called war, man. They have no honor amongst them. While they in the middle of negotiation, they go there and bomb your leaders and your schoolgirls in classrooms, man. They have no honor, no type of integrity. But yet they paint themselves as the as light bearers, not as Shalaki, not light bearers, but like the good guys. They always paint themselves as being the good guys. We coming over there to to free your people because y'all need freedom from tyranny, man. You can't make that shit up, man. We're gonna bomb you to and change your leadership and put somebody in there who's gonna benefit our behalf. But that's how they paint themselves as like, no, we doing y'all a favor. Same as they did down in Venezuela, man. You can't make it up, man. Meaning raised without order, structure, or moral foundation, have no type of moral foundation. And we see a lot of this coming out and it's being revealed by these Edomites, man, especially in the E-files, these so-called leaders, man, well, these leaders of these nations, man, and what they do behind closed doors. They violate anything. Talking about eating kids, man, turning kids into smoothies and all type of crazy shit like that, man. The blood rituals and all these other things that they do, man. And not to mention the sexual stuff they do to these kids on these islands. And not just in the islands, in these caves and all type of places they do behind closed doors, man. Epstein, believe me, he's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what they do, man. He's just the tip of the iceberg. That little bit that the Lord allowed to be exposed. Some of the shit they do, man, is just it's so unfit for to be even spoken of over media anyway. they can't even talk about some of this shit that goes down because it's so vile. It's so so out of this world, man. Put it that way. They were viler than the earth. Vile. Look at the word vile. It's degraded, low, corrupt. Than the earth, expression extremely low status. So you got the lowest base men of the world that's running the world right now. And that goes to show you the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh. He can take the lowest thing of the earth and lift them up and have them rule. And Lord put them to be the last rulers over the earth, man. You know, that just goes to show you the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh. Important understanding. The verse is descriptive, not instructional. And Job kind of shows you how the Lord, reversed things. Because Job, he was highly honored. He was a highly respected man during that time. And the Lord flipped it around where he became, very low and, very respected. The Lord has that power. But then what he do, he lift Job back up to much more higher status than what he was, before, he went through that. Before he went through that trying period. Because it put Job below the lowest people of society, and they was over him, insulting him, and that's what Job was crying out about. How you got these low base people that's damn near like animals, man, over top of me. Let me put this in. Job says he would not That's Job chapter 30, verse 1. What was that other one? Shalakia. Oh, that's still chapter 30. But at the beginning of chapter 30, verse 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose father I would have disdain to have set with the dogs of my flock. So he said he wouldn't let his dogs of his flock hang around these wild animals, man, these beasts of a men. Because you know how Esau get down on them animals, man. It ain't just because he love animals and all that. A lot of times you find out they into all type of bestiality. As a matter of fact, part of the LGBT part, it goes all the way out. And part of it, at the end, it's talking about bestiality. Talking about legalizing bestiality, be able to marry and be able to sleep with animals, man. And, it just goes to show you how wild Esau Edom is, man. How detestable he is. And you see a lot of times cases, man, where they find out these K-9 officers be sleeping with the damn dogs and crazy shit, man. Crazy shit you find all the time. I think one of these guys is supposed to be like Steve Irwin. One of those animal guys could have found out he was sleeping with a lot of the damn animals, man. He's like a wild beast, brute beast, man. Like I said, viler than anything on the earth. But it's something I wanted to pull up. I can't think of right now though. But like I said, Esau, he paints himself as being so much superior, so much better, more morally better than having the high ground over everybody else. But we know now, because the Lord is exposing this devil for who he is, man. He's nothing like he painted himself to be, man. He's really the base of all men, of all nations. And the Lord is going to put him back into his rightful position, man. And it's going to be at the bottom, Lord built him up to show his power, man, what he can do. He could take somebody from way down here and put them to the status where they're at now. And then he's going to come back and dismantle this, man. And we He's seeing it happening every day. He's pulling the pulling the rug from up under him, man. He's lifting up his skirt, and everybody's exposing him and showing who he is, man. It's a beautiful piece of work that the Lord does, man. And so we have to sit back and marvel at it, but we have to continue to do the work what the Lord has, given us to do, you know, and watch this thing play out. And Lord will, everything continue to play out in a short period of time. Like I said, Lord speeding up the time, man, because if you don't, this devil will be able to destroy the whole damn earth. I already talking about nuclear weapons and bombs. Anything that this man gets his hands on, he turns it into some type of weapon, some type of invention. He turns it to a damn weapon. Like one of the brothers was saying before, people invented the airplane. This man figured out a way to put bombs on it and a goddamn machine gun. Get a car and they turn it to a damn tank, to a weapon of destruction. Anything he can use, man. And like I said, this place has been, Babylon the Great has been in power for 250 years. And only, I think it was like 8 years or either 20 years out of that, it's only been, that they haven't been at war. The whole time this motherfucker's been in war, man. That's all they do is rob, steal, and take, because the sword, they were blessed with the sword, man. And that's what they use. That's what they control with their sword. That's why the petrodollar gained his power from with the sword, man, with his might. The Lord is bringing all that to naught, man. What is something else I wanted to hit on too? Oh, like the brother was saying from GMS Mississippi, a lot of these inventions that he has, he claims those inventions, but we know he stole a lot of those inventions from Jake, man. Any nation that had you Israelites in their grasp always rose to the top. Why was that? Because they developed off of your power, man. And anything that Jake invented, we know this devil stole it, man. He stole it and he turned it for something nefarious, man. Like I said, cell phone, technology, all these things, man. Jake invented all these things. And you got to think about it. Jake's only supposed to be, especially the Southern Kingdom, just 13% of the population, but they invented damn near all of their major inventions that have gone on, man. And a lot of it, through the patent thing, Jake's gonna have patents, so they stole a lot of that shit. That's why they rose up so fast, man. And even to this day, they still steal Jake inventions. Either the one thing they do now, they have what they call like a gate program, where they would catch these young Jakes early on in school, where they found out they had such high abilities, and they would take them early on and start fostering them into their community to build for them. They put them in these institutions and stuff so that they can tap into their powers, like a brain drain from our community. But like I said, Lord's great to take all that, man. He's great to switch everything up, man. And we're gonna have unlimited power. We're not gonna have us stealing over us, by these devils, man. That's holding us back because they do everything they can to keep Jake, to keep you Jake, everything in their power to keep you suppressed. And I'm gonna go over some of the ways they suppress Jake, man. Let me see if I got it here. Go to my pictures, I think. Post-slavery economic oppression, how wealth was extracted after freedom, because they had this thing now where this guy wrote a book, said the new book reveals how nearly $600 billion was taken from so-called black Americans through unfair taxes and post-slavery. $600 billion, man, that they done stole from us, man. This post-slavery, we ain't talking about the 250 years of free slavery that have shadow slavery, man. So that price tag, you can't put a price on that price tag, man. Only thing they can do, we can get is recompense. That means to put their asses in slavery like we were. We want that free workload off of them. We can work the fuck out them devils, man. We can rule them with the rod of iron. They got a price to pay, and there ain't enough dollars they come up with to pay us back. Ain't no such thing as no goddamn, what's that thing they say Jake be fighting for? To fix, to repair something, reparations. Fuck reparations, man. We want recompense. We want you devils to give us same thing that you've done to us. put you in slavery and you're going to work for free to help build up our kingdom. But this is some of the shit that they did, man. They came up with black codes, vagrancy laws, and by doing that, post-slavery, they catch Jake. If you didn't have a job and they caught you outside, man, they will put you in some type of, they'll lock your ass up, and that will take away your rights, and they'll sell you off into a plantation, and you have to work that plantation for free. And they always make it so you can never get out, man. Freedom were criminalized for unemployment, forced into labor through fines and arrest. Freedom became controlled servitude, and we know, I think it was one of those laws or amendments they came with that once you become a criminal, you lose all your rights as a human, and that's still in existence today. So a lot of those inmates is locked up, man. That's why they lock a lot of Jakes up, man, because they can have pretty much work you for free. Because a lot of Jakes, they do a lot of them are labored out to a lot of these companies, man. Still the same old shit, man, and get paid very little to nothing to work those companies. I seen it myself where they have them like working some of the red light cameras where they would send out tickets and shit, building furniture. Some of them they lend out to these fast food companies, what they call like a work release shit. All these things are designed to use Jake for labor, man, free labor. Another thing they came up with what they call convict leasing system. Minor offenses, heavy fines. Unable to pay, forced labor. Slavery could continue under legal disguise. And we're not going to mention sharecropping. That's another thing. They got Jakes on these farms, man, and then they would just continue to run the tab up on them because they had to go to their stores in order to buy shit. And, they put that high-ass interest rate on them, and they'd never get out of the debt, man. So they was indebted to the landowners, man. Same shit as it was in slavery. And they couldn't leave because they had to stay there and pay that debt. And it would be there one generation to the next, man. Continued on. Unfair taxation and fees. Poll taxes block voting rights. Targeted fines drain communities. Because, they always, if you ever lived in a hood community, man, oh my gosh, man, they send police they will fine you and ticket you for every goddamn thing they can, man. What's the thing they call, where they profile a lot of Jakes, man. You have a nice car driving through the hood, they was locking, they were giving you a ticket for any little thing they can, man. And then they have a lot of different type of traps there to entrap you to put a fine on you. And then you go to the courts, and all you see in these big ass beautiful courthouses is nothing but Jakes, paying fines or paying court fees and shit like that for different minor offenses. And that shit added up, man. Just fucking drain the black community, so-called black community, man. But it builds up these institutions because the ones that's in there residing over the Jakes in these courthouses, man, is white lawyers, these so-called white lawyers, white judges. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. Just to see it, They haven't lived it. I remember one time I was driving from work, which was in the hood, where I worked in this apartment community complex. I was maintenance, and I was driving home one time for lunch, and I think one of my lights went out or some shit. And I got pulled over 3 times, man, before I could even make it to the crib. And I lived no more than 15 minutes from that my job site, man. I pulled over 3 times, and I told the last guy, I said, man, did you see? Then they notify you that they just pulled me over just 2 stops to a couple of blocks back, And that's how it is, man. They over-police these so-called black communities, man. So, I got that one ticket, but damn, it just continues to go on, man. And any little minor offense, they want to take your license, man. First thing they do, you don't pay back behind on your child support, they're going to take your license. You miss your insurance, they're going to take your license. You run late on your insurance. You don't back up there in Virginia, you miss your, what's the thing they did? Got to get your car inspected. Catch you, your car didn't get inspected. Any type of way they could tax the fuck out of Jake, man, he was doing it. Edomites get it too. But a lot of times, Jakes don't have the money, man. They won't work in those jobs like the Edomites have. Jake But, we were depending on every dime we had. Wealth distraction, generations denied land and opportunity, labor exploited without fair compensation, economic growth, international suppression. So a lot of these Edomites, when they came from World War II, they were able to get VA home loans. Jake wasn't able to get them, so they were able to buy homes and pass it on down to their next generations, which built up generational wealth. Jake wasn't able to do that. I don't think it was till maybe the 1960s when they finally allowed Jakes to get these VA loans, man. Then we know all about redlining, man. How they redlined Jake, how they broke up the family. Man, the bill that they owe us, man, is way beyond 600 billion. It's way up in the trillions. You can't put a number on it. The 600 billion claim, estimated based on lost wages, exploitation, not a fixed number, but reflects the real impact, systematic oppression, and generational loss. Freedom without justice is not freedom. And I got a scripture here, Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decree, to turn aside the needy from judgment. And that's what these devils do, man. They have these unrighteous decrees, man, that they come up behind closed doors, ways to help destroy our people, you so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Convict leasing, that's an unrighteous decree, man. 3 strikes law that they came up with back in the 80s, man. Locked up a lot of Jakes behind that shit. The crack laws and all the other shit, Jake go off, but Jake set his own, they set the trap and Jake fall right into it, man. Always, by us not relying on our power, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, that's why a lot of Jakes get caught up in a lot of these things, man. I come out of them situations, man, no bad areas and stuff like that, but I know it was by the power of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah that navigated me out of those situations. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and make no account of his labors, man. And right now, the brothers are crying out. They blasting the Edomites, man. You owe us, man. You owe us reparations in boldness. We couldn't do that back in the day, but we can do it now. But like I said, we don't want reparations, man. We want recompense. We want to put you devils in the same position we are so we can build off of you, and Lord's going to put you back in that base position, man. But that's pretty much it, man. I just want to kind of hit that point, land back off the brothers' videos that they did, man, and Lord wills edifying. With that, say shalom.